Hey, what's up, everybody? Here I am today. I just want to talk about, what's up, that's what's up here. And, just try to bring common sense to things, talk about anything and everything. Nothing's off the table, and just things that come up that I wanted to share my thoughts on. And again, it could be anything and everything, that just something that I may see. Um, so with that, I've talked about various things: road rage, Teslas, gas prices, why are they so high, Kamala stuff, Trump stuff, woke stuff. I mean, all kinds of stuff. All right, so oops. So with all that, without further ado, let's just get to it. All right, and I have this morbid curiosity about this Oceangate Titan submarine that had a catastrophic failure and it imploded a year ago, right? This was kind of the first of its kind in this sense, to where it was supposed to go all the way down to the Titanic, and from there, um, explore the Titanic and all that within this sub, right? And so the thing about this sub, all right, you know what? Let me pull up this right here. I'll just pull this up. That way you get a visual to see what I'm fascinated about. You know. Let's see here. I don't know why it's saying that. All right, so I just want to share with you guys imagery
What
here.
is an implosion?
All
Implosion is
right.
a process of destruction by collapsing inwards of the object itself. What
Now,
explosion
this is speculative of what occurred last year. As you can see, this is from a year ago. And the reason why I'm talking about it today is because they just released an update on their investigation as to what happened based on the recovery of the wreckage of this submersible submarine here. So, to give you a visual of what occurred, all right, or what they speculated occurred a year ago,
expands
I'll
implosion
play this right
contracts.
here.
In the case of the Titan submergible, the implosion was caused due to very high hydrostatic pressure of the surrounding water, which happened within a
And the thing about water is that the further, the deeper you go into the ocean, the amount of pressure continues to build. So, for example, if your body goes down, and let's just say you sink and sink and sink, you're going to get crushed
fraction of a mil.
by the amount of pressure just crushing you. So if you're inside something such as this thing, it's going to be building up a lot of pressure, and you're going to have material that's going to be able to sustain that pressure. So let's see here.
Millisecond, as shown in the animation. At the depth the Titanic rests, there is around 5,600 pounds, as shown in the animation. At the surrounding water. In the case of the Titan submergible, the
Pull this back
implosion
a
was
bit.
caused due to very high hydrostatic pressure of the surrounding water, which happened within a fraction of a millisecond, as shown in the animation. At the depth the Titanic rests, there is around 5,600 pounds per square inch of pressure. That's almost 400 times the pressure we experience on the surface. As the submersible is deep in the ocean, it experiences the force on its surface due to the water pressure. When this force becomes larger than the force hull can withstand, the vessel implodes violently. But why did this implosion happen to the Titan submersible? Existing technology is based on steel, titanium, and aluminium. These are what kept other submarines from being crushed. But the Titan has had an experimental design. It used mostly carbon fibers, which have the advantage of being lighter than titanium or steel.
So two things here, right? Submarines don't go this deep, all right? That big giant can they call a submarine. Your typical military submarine or whatever. They don't go this deep. So now you're building up this, you know, experimental submarine, more or less, um, to go deeper than anything ever been before. in terms of a submarine style, um, you know, item going down, right? And so, this was the materials would be explained here, right?
The properties of carbon fibers for deep sea applications are, however, not that well understood. It can crack and break suddenly. We corrected our recent video listening to all your comments and research, so stay tuned.
And then that's another thing. Carbon fiber, I don't give a shit. I would not even dare, because carbon fiber to me looks nice and supposedly is supposed to be super strong. To me, it's still weak as hell. And to submerge that into the ocean, to the subjugation of pressure building against it, psh, screw that shit. No way. You'll be crushed. And if I was told, hey,
Tune with this
you're gonna go inside a submarine that's made of carbon fiber, nah, I would not dare do that.
corrected version and don't miss a beat. Oceangate Titan. This is not a submarine, but the Titan is a Cyclops-class manned submersible. But what's the difference between the two? The primary difference between a submersible and a submarine is that the submersible is launched from a mother vessel or home vessel. They are typically launched on a raft or platform, which is placed into the ocean and ultimately descends via 4 electric thrusters, which helps it to reach speeds of around 3 knots. But a submarine can dive underwater without any external equipment and surface, all through the process of buoyancy. These are the basic system that makes up the submersible. Number 1. The mothership named the Polar Prince, which is actually an icebreaker. Number 2. The ramp that transports the vessel up to a certain department. Number 3. The Oceangate Titan itself. Let's look at its specification. The vessel has a length of 22 feet 6.7 meters, which is pretty small considering it can go to great depths, while it has a breadth of around 9.2 feet or 2.8 meters. And it has a height of 8.3 feet or 2.5 meters. Comparing this to an average human will help us visualize how small it is. Even better.
So before we go any further, they're describing the size of it, right? They had 5 humans inside there when they submerged this into the ocean. And give you a little backdrop of this Oceangate Titan thing. The main guy, the creator of this, had this fascination of going to the Titanic. Actually, going back in time, he actually had a fascination to go to Mars, right? And build experimental rockets and things to go fly to Mars. But Elon Musk beat him to that punch. So he switched gears and decided, you know what? The ocean is still one of those things that really has never been further explored, just like space, right? And that it's something that he believed could be the future of living, right? Rather than going into space to find a planet to live on, you're going to be living in a ecosystem in the ocean. Say like if the land becomes uninhabitable, right? So that's his belief. So that's why he wanted to kind of explore the ocean, and one of his biggest missions was to get to the Titanic and kind of show, hey, you know what? We could go deep into the ocean and explore, deep areas of the ocean that we've never seen before, such as the Titanic. That's what he wanted to prove. And to further fuel that, his wife was a descendant of passengers that were on Titanic. So it kind of helped fuel that desire for him to go down there and do his thing, right? So he's done experiments, he's broken rules, and kind of pushed the envelope to make this thing happen, to make a long story short. And so that's why what happened is what happened thus far. In terms of, well, the 5 people, including him, that went in it, went down. got crushed and all that stuff. And so the question is how or why? What made it happen, right?
Better, let's compare this to a small SUV to help us understand its dimension better. Interestingly, it can carry around 5 people, a pilot, and 4 passengers, who have to sit on the floor and have limited room to move around. Imagine sitting like this for 8 hours. If someone asks the question, what if nature calls? Yes, there's a toilet on the submersible, but it is only separated from the rest of the capsule by a privacy curtain located at the front of the submarine. The interior of the vessel is pretty simple. You will have a joystick, which is actually a video game controller, and 2 monitors to help steer the vessel. One is for the sonar, and the other one placed on the side is for steering the submersible. This is probably one of the basic deep diving submarine you will ever see. Let's move outside the submersible to understand the engineering behind it. These are the 4 electric thrusters that help steer the vessel. 2 inner space thrusters are placed in a horizontal position as shown here, and 2 more are located on both sides of the vessel are placed in a vertical position. At the back is the electronics equipment and most probably contains oxygen and navigation system. It is an unmanned part of the vessel that also has the ability to even recycle some of the carbon dioxides and pump back the regenerated 50% oxygen into the cabin. This is one of the main reasons the submersible vessel has a 96-hour oxygen as claimed by the company. Interestingly, this is the entrance made up of titanium and opens up just like this. This is the camera of the vessel, which can be viewed from one of the 2 monitors. At the front are 4 lights required for deep sea diving. With all this equipment, the submersible can go up to depths of 4,000 meters or 13,000 feet at a speed of 3 or 4 knots. Now that we have established the basic functions, let's take a look at how this works. Step number 1. Mothership, which is the Polar Prince, anchors at a particular spot where the Titanic shipwreck is located. Step number 2. The ramp slowly disembarks from the mothership along with the Titan submersible. Step number 3. It will slowly descend to a certain depth. Step number 4. The small Titan submersible will disengage from the assigned platform. Step number 5. Titan will slowly descend at a low speed of 3 or 4 knots. Step number 6. The pilot will use the joysticks to pilot the vessel. This is how it works. Moving the joystick controller just like this will propel the vessel forward. Tilting the controller back will reverse the vessel with the help of the electric thrusters. If the pilot wants to turn left or right, he will just have to twist the controller and the effects will be as shown in the animations. On the left-hand side of the joystick is the down and up controller. Tilting the controls forward results in the downward descent of the vessel, and pushing the controllers down results in the upward movement of the vessel. The submersible did not even reach the wreckage of the Titanic but suffered an implosion because of the weak carbon fiber hull, and the debris is located just 1,600 feet from the Titanic and consisted of 5 parts as shown here in the animations. Till then, check out the many engineering animations as we make original videos from scratch in 4K 3D animation.
So that was kind of like a breakdown of what it was, how it was like, and what and the specs of it, right? Of this Oceangate Titan. All right. So now, you know what the layout is. With my morbid curiosity about this, new information has come out about what actually occurred, and so I liked I liked how they. Let me see here. Why is it doing this? Give me 1 sec.
Was crushed while visiting the wreck of the Titanic.
So here is Scott Manley. When I watched his video the other day, I thought it was a great kind of an explanation as to what was speculated to happen. And so I want to get straight to that part here. Let me see if it shows here. It was somewhere here. There we go. I'm gonna go right here.
I suspect we're going to get more details on this in coming days. I'm pretty sure there will be some evidence on the forward ring, which was absolutely brought to shore. Okay, so just to explain what I just said, this is what I think actually happened. I think the failure begins somewhere along this front bulkhead, right? Somewhere between...
Yeah, I bet there was so much pressure built up along the seams here where the front end is, right? This is also the entryway to get in the hole here, right? Is this front cap here. And so what he speculated is what I agree with, is because so much pressure, and this is probably one of the weakest areas, vulnerable areas of this submarine. And of course this area too, because you have this section, which is just a section with all the equipment and stuff, and it's attached to here as well. Those are, to me, are the weakest points of this whole submersible submarine.
These two things. Now you got to imagine, yes, that there is a bulkhead here. Sorry, they have a sphere right here, right? And you've got the window on the front, and somewhere around this circumference, water basically starts pushing in, or it breaks, or there's a crack. And the cracks, once a crack starts, it propagates backwards, right? You get water will start pushing its way in, and you got to imagine that this stuff starts getting pushed in all the way around, right? So the water is pushing this in, and as it runs down, you're going to have these cracks, and more stuff is going to get pushed backwards like this as the sides get squished inwards, right? So this is what's happening. Now, equally, you got the water is kind of rushing into this gap here, and it fills this gap and will pop this window out
like
a
cork.
That's why it's not in there. And the pressure will also just knock this entire section off on its own, right? So the water's like flying backwards. It smashes into this bulkhead. Obviously, everything in here gets smashed up against this, bumps into this, and the tail will get detached off on its own as it recoils. So what you're left with is the hemisphere, the ring, and a whole bunch of carbon fiber debris and whatever is left inside this, all shattered. That's what I think this is showing. This is why I think we have a failure here. If we had a failure in the middle, then this sort of failure process would propagate in both directions, and you would have carbon fiber debris in here and in here, right? That is my conjecture.
But I agree with the first part of it. Was
I should also point out that this is
so much pressure built up on the front and back, and with those vulnerable points of where they attach the back end, you attach the front end, to me is what was the failure and downfall of this submersible submarine. So that to me is what occurred a year ago when this thing, this tin can made of carbon fiber got crushed and sunk to the bottom, right? And no one lived, of course.
Is radically different from all the other Oceangate Titan failure simulations, and there's been a lot of these on YouTube using very sophisticated techniques, I will say. Great work, but they all show a failure in the middle of the vessel because that's where the peak stress is. So now I'm sure we'll see some of these people redo their work.
Yeah, I didn't watch I watched footage of this stuff a year ago, but I didn't watch the speculation aspects as to what occurred. I started catching up on that, because I'm just very curious about this whole Oceangate Titan thing. I thought it was very fascinating. But yeah, so that's what happened here. Chilling video shows Titan sub's entire final journey. Let's see what this looks like. We'll cap it off with this, alright? Be interesting to see what occurred here based on all the information now. since they kind of did their analysis, investigation, all the stuff that's come out now about what they speculated occurred when this submarine or submersible submarine went down for the Titanic and what occurred. But there's no way I would go in that shit. Sorry. I just would not do that. You gotta be smoking some shit. So the Titan is dropped into the ocean and begins to descend. The speech bubbles appear showing conversations between crew and support vessel. Alright. So there you go. So you can see as it's being dropped down, the conversations that are taking place as it's being dropped down. You can see the condition of the sub is still looking pretty good. So it's still looking okay as it's being dropped down. You can see the pressure building up right there. As the further it goes down deeper and deeper, the pressure continues to build up. But yeah, so far so good from what it's looking like. It looks like a one-sided conversation is happening right there. Something's up. It's only a one-sided conversation now. Alright, there we go. Alright, so communication between the submersible and the support ship suddenly stopped around an hour and 45 minutes into the deadly 150-minute descent. Alright, so let's watch this. Oops. The last words from the crew's report said everything was all good here. Audio became more spotty. They asked if the Titan could see the Titanic. They weren't even close to the Titanic. When this tragedy occurred. Titan was still able to send one message when the submersible was 3,341 meters deep, an hour and a half after it began its journey. Whoops. The message read, "Drop 2 weights," and was sent at 10:47 a.m. And they said ping for the final time. They show remains of the submersible. This is the damaged tail cone and exposed internal components. Yeah, you can see that's the back end, yep. Alright, so like I said, I just had this morbid curiosity about what happened, and yeah, there was no way I would go in this tin can. Sorry, especially deep in the ocean, 5 people. You know, you're with no way of stretching out or nothing. Nah, wouldn't have done it. I don't care how much you pay me to do it, I wouldn't have done it. But yeah, so that's what happened though. I just wanted to share that with you guys and my thoughts on that. And it's like, wow, yeah. To me, that's what went wrong with the submarine of this type is the front and back entries were the most vulnerable points of the submersible. Plus, you made this thing out of carbon fiber. I mean, I don't care how you can't convince me that you're gonna go somewhere that's so pressurized and dense as the ocean to withstand the pressure of that magnitude crushing against the submarine and not expect to get crushed. No. So that's what happened. And with that, that's your latest also about what happened to this submarine. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of red tape on future, you know, quote unquote missions on trying to go in the ocean on, you know, this sort of company made sort of submersibles and submarines and all that stuff. Yeah, it's going to be a very long time before that can happen again after this right here happened. But yeah, interesting enough, even James Cameron, who was offered to go on that, said no. Right? So, yeah, there was a lot of broken rules that were made, you know, done. and pushing the boundaries on getting this thing made and done that I hate to say it, but he almost did it to himself, the creator here. And so, yeah, that's just what happened. But anyhow, just wanted to share that with you guys. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Subscribe. Hit the bell icon. Like I said, we talk about anything and everything, and and trying to bring some common sense to it as well. I mean, like, would you really go in that thing? Carbon fiber, deep in the ocean? Hell no. All right. On that, I'll see you next one.